Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Pulaski County Fiscal Court. Got a good crowd today. Got a special opportunity we're going to take here in just a moment. But before we start, we like to open our court meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I've asked today Brother Beaver Corder, who's with us today. Don't get to see him much. He's in the back. I asked him if he'd open us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America,
to the republic which stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First item we need to take care of is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, and I understand there is a correction that needs to be made. Mark, do you have that?
Yeah, on number 11, where it says Samantha Burdine from part-time employee of 911 to full-time employee. That was supposed to be not starting pay of $26, but it was supposed to be starting date of the 26th.
Little difference in it.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference.
Motion to accept with changes.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, next then, this is a little break from our traditional court meeting, but we've got a neat opportunity here. We have with us today Carolyn Phelps, and she has just been appointed by our governor, Matt Bevin, to fill a vacant seat in the Science Hill City Commission. Now, this is a first ever appointment of a female to the Science Hill City Commission. So Ms. Phelps has been just a lifelong member of the community, and she's an active member of her church there, Science Hill United Methodist Church, which a lot of them are here with us today. She's been a member of a development organization that's helped in beautifying the town, the cemetery, and a lot of areas around the community. She's truly a servant's heart, and we're excited, Carolyn, that you're going to be able to take on this role, and we know that you're going to be a blessing to the community and to the commission for which you're going to serve on. So as we're going to induct you, or I guess swear you into this position, I've asked my longtime friend, Judge Katie Wood Sloan, who has done pretty well in her own right for setting the standard high for women and their achievements here in this community. I'm so proud of Katie and all she does. But I'm going to ask you if you will swear her in. And before we do, Carolyn has asked if we would let her pastor bless this ceremony with a prayer. If you would open us up, Pastor Williams, and if while you're doing that, we've got a court member, Jimmy Wielden, that is having tests done today. If you include him in your prayer. Jimmy Wielden.
To the fiscal court and magistrates, to Judge Sloan, to Judge Kelly, and Carolyn Phelps and family and friends. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious God, each of us in our own way, from our own traditions, would invoke your presence with us here this morning as we gather on this ceremonious occasion. In your wisdom, loving God, you have set us within families. You have gathered families into communities, and communities that combine to make us a strong nation. We are thankful for the people of the communities of Pulaski County, and we thank you for those who make up the community of Science Hill. Especially today, we are grateful for Mrs. Carolyn Phelps, who has come forward to serve in this appointed position on their behalf. Bless Mrs. Carolyn Phelps as she takes the oath of office. With these solemn words becomes a public trust. So we pray that you would confirm in her and the rest of the commission and elected officials a commitment to what is true, what is right, and what is fair. Endow them with both wisdom and humility, and along with the rest of the magistrates in fiscal court, inspire them that they may lead us in renewing ties of mutual respect which form our civic life. Fill us all with a renewed commitment to work with the people of our communities. Deliver us from the political pessimism that so afflicts our age. Keep our officials attuned to the highest standards of public service. Grant them the vision to work for goals and purposes larger than themselves, and give them the energy and zeal to carry the vision forward. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, for you have set us all within communities and called us to promote the common good. And Father, we thank you for the leaders of the past, for their wisdom, leadership, and actions that help promote the growth, health, and safety of our communities. We thank you for the blessing of their sacrifices and commitments to the people of the communities of Pulaski County. And Father, we also turn to you now in the time of need for Mr. Wielden and ask that you would just put your healing hand upon him. Be with the doctors and nurses, and may you grant them wisdom, and may you walk with him every step of the way. We love you and praise you, and we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Here.
Okay, we'll do it right here, because I've got to raise my right hand, and I have three. You ready? Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that you will be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of Science Hill City Commissioner according to law? And do you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, you, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God?
God, I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Katie, and thank you, Carolyn, for your willingness to serve. And folks, you all are more than welcome to stay and be a part of our court meeting. Or if you wanted to get back to your work, you're welcome to do that at this time as well. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda then, we have some items in new business. First, I've got the Pulaski County Health Department tax rates to be presented. Bridget, you want to hear that for us?
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Bridget Bender from the Pulaski County Health Department, and I'm just here to present the local board approved the 3 cents per hundred of the assessed property value, and I've given you the minutes showing where the board has approved the tax rate. This has not changed since last year.
Okay, so we just need to let the minutes reflect then that that Health Department has come to court and presented the tax rate
Of the 3 cents per hundred.
per hundred.
That's
That all you,
all.
that all you need?
That's all I need.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bridget. Let's see. Next then will be Pulaski County Cooperative Extension Office budget. You going to present that today?
Good morning. My name is Patrick Richardson. I am the treasurer for the County Extension Board. They have set tax rates for 2020 on real property at 1.601 per hundred, on personal property 1.869 cents per hundred, on motor vehicle watercraft 1.2 cents per hundred.
We had a typo on the agenda, so those are the tax rates presented. Do you have those, Alicia? Did you get all that?
No.
need to follow up with her and
All right.
give her those
Yes, sir.
numbers. So, same as with the health department, we'll just need to let the minutes reflect that we were presented with those figures here at court.
Alicia, they're also on the paper I gave. It's at the very bottom, under the road list. If not, I've got more.
Okay, go ahead, so I can have this.
Okay.
And before I forget, this came in my office late in the week, and if I don't do it, I'll forget about it. But basically, we have a notice of decision of state local debt officer. Basically, this is a decision pursuant to KRS 66.310. It says, I am enclosing a copy of my decision approving the issuance of the Pulaski County, Kentucky General Obligation Bond Series 2019 by Commissioner Sandra Donahue, and it just says the record of this decision should be made in the minutes of the next meeting of Pulaski County Fiscal Court. So I'll give you a copy of this if you'll remind me after. So let the minutes show that we were approved for the bond issue. All right, then the next item will be our Pulaski County tax rates. Joan, do you want to speak to that, or
Yes, I can. Did you skip the Ferguson?
did I
or-
skip the interlocal? Oh. Let's do the interlocal first then.
Okay, Magistrate Ranshaw asked me to prepare an interlocal agreement between the city of Ferguson and Pulaski Fiscal Court, where this court or this county government can provide equipment and labor to the city of Ferguson, and the city will have to reimburse on an as-needed basis, and the city, Ferguson will have to reimburse the county for any material provided by the county. So if the court agrees with, I think it's already been happening kind of unofficially, but it really should be in writing. So we went ahead and made it official by this interlocal agreement, which will still have to be approved by the Department of Local Government. But if you agree to do this, I just need an effective date and an ending date to add into the agreement.
This was something that we found out we didn't have an interlocal agreement to, so we drew this up. Ferguson's already signed off on it, officially signed off on it, and they're okay with it. Basically, the mayor will request in writing for us to come out and help dig out a ditch or something like that. And then if the crews are available at the time, then we would come out and help them out. That's basically what this is.
And what beginning and ending date did they put
We
on
started
that?
officially today, and then I guess it'll stay in effect until changed.
Well,
Have they already approved it?
they've approved
Yeah, they
it.
already approved it.
Why don't we just make it effective through, because it's effective through blank unless amended by motion. Want to do a year at a time? Do 8/31 of 20?
That's fine.
Okay.
So we'll have to renew that again next year.
So we need to take a vote on that then?
Yes, sir.
We'll need if y'all want to do that, we'll need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Take that and get the city attorney there to sign it.
All right. Now then, we can move on to our Pulaski County tax rates. Joan, you prepared that for us there?
Yes, we've received our information on our real personal property from the state also. This year for Pulaski County, real property has not changed for the compensating rate and the 4% tax increase. So it's 5.1, sorry. And the 4% increase would be 5.3, and that is the same on real and personal property.
I always like to use this opportunity to brag on Pulaski County. We are the third lowest property tax in the state of Kentucky. And if you look at all the averages, you know, you can see the chart, we're very, very low compared to some. So I'm very proud of that. Same time, you know, we're limited on some things we can do because we are the lowest, but I think our people appreciate being low tax rates.
Make a motion and we keep it the same.
Second.
Compensating rate.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the compensating rate, which would be 5.10. No change. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next then, I've got a resolution. This is something that came to my desk a couple weeks ago. This is a national push, if you will, to recognize 911 dispatchers as first responders. And I think here locally, we've always recognized them that way, but we've never put our court name on it officially. So in an effort to get behind this national push, I would like to show that we as a court recognize our 911 dispatchers as first responders. Matter of fact, they are the first responders. So you all got a copy of the resolution. And
Motion.
we have a motion to accept it.
Second.
In a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and thank you to all of our first responders for all you do. Next then, it's not on the agenda, but we just received a bid I guess this Saturday was the deadline, but we received them on Friday for liability insurance. I need to appoint a committee to review.
No, they're due set Friday, aren't they? I thought they were due the 31st or 30th.
Yeah, they're due the 30th, close of business.
Okay,
But
I
you
was thinking
still-
You're jumping the gun, Steve.
But we still need to appoint.
But we still need to appoint the committee, yes.
So probably on that, I probably need 2 magistrates to serve, and then I'll put
I'll be one.
my deputy, so Mark. Anybody else want to serve on that committee?
Have Joan as well.
Jimmy will.
We'll volunteer Jimmy.
What happens when you miss it?
So Mark and Jimmy and Joan and Dan will serve on that committee. Thank you all.
Martin, will you help us out if there's any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda will be our department reports. We've got our road department. Eugene, you approach the court, please.
All I've got today is a road work request and 3,000 ton of rock for September.
I'll have a copy of your road work request. Are there any speed limit signs to change?
Yeah, I've got a speed limit sign on Fall Drive. 20 mile per hour.
We'll need a motion.
Second.
Motion second to approve
have
the 20
another
mile
one,
per hour speed limit on Fall Drive. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I've got one on Ramp Road, 20 mile per hour.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second to approve a 20 mile per hour on Ramp Road. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we'll take the road work request as a whole.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the road work request. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then you said you need 3,000 tons of rock for
For the month of September.
September. Do
Motion.
Second.
we have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. What about this?
We also need some coal mix, I think, don't we? We need to mix some?
Yeah, Eugene and I talked about it. They're in the process of washing the rock right now, and they talked to Hinkle, and you can stockpile a couple loads of hot mix that we're currently using.
Yeah.
And put it in the hopper the night before. And then as soon as Hinkle gets the rock washed, we're gonna try 100 ton or 200 ton, because right now, we're using the majority of the time hot mix that they're running through, and if we mix a big pile, we'll be using a spring and summer formula, whereas opposed to late in the fall, they put a winter,
Yeah.
different binder in.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, if we're gonna, but the question is, and I think if we're going to do that anytime in the near future, we want to go ahead and run it through because of the PO and, audit fund stuff.
Well, I mean, we're not gonna do it till next court meeting.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
what I was getting at. I didn't know if you'd be doing it within the next.
No.
Okay,
Wait on that.
just questioning.
There's on here, Eugene, it says a 60-foot, 36-inch plastic tile for what?
That should have been on Jimmy Wilden's third district
Okay.
road request.
We'll strike that. Yeah. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Was it on his? Anybody look through it?
I didn't look, but we might need to add it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no.
I don't see it. So we need to probably amend the road work request and add that, I don't see it on there. Do you see it?
The 24 tile?
One Waddle.
Third?
And a third Waddle Rice.
Yeah, it's not there.
Need to add it to it.
So let's add that for Wattle Rice Road in the third.
We need to revote on
We need to revote on that, please.
the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the road work request with the change. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, brings us to 911. Aaron, you've got information for a copy release?
Every 4 years, we have to renew a copy release, and what that means is essentially we get new copiers every 4 years or start getting wore out. I just need to ask the court's permission for the judge to sign the lease. It's a 4-year lease. The price stays the same. We just get new equipment.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Give me permission to sign that lease. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Aaron. All right, Linda, you've got something for a mechanical bull or a mechanical bid, I'm sorry.
We've had some air conditioning problems in our
Oh,
mall branch.
okay.
Excuse me, so I've got a proposal here for bid from Epperson Electric that I would like to ask the court to accept the bid, and so we can get that work started down there and get that fixed if you may.
Does that come out of our budget?
Well, it comes out of ours, actually, but I've still got to get the court's approval, right, John?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second and allow Linda to go and get this bid. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Was that to accept the bid or to?
To accept the bid, yes. Yes, because that's the only one I have. so
Okay, I'm
that's-
sorry. Change that wording, please, Alicia. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got, then our treasurer's report, Joan.
Yes, and I did have to add a few items at the last minute, so we'll just start with what's on the agenda. The first item I have would be the bill list.
I received a copy of the bill list. What would be your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
The second item I have is a supplementary supplementary bill list as to the fact that we will not be having another court meeting before Picking in the Park, which Jason might want to talk a little bit about. We need to pay for the lineup, the bands that will be performing at Picking in the Park. And this is a line item in the budget, so it has been previously approved, but we have to approve the people.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Be on September the 7th, start at 3 o'clock,
September 7th, starting at 3 o'clock until,
whatever time they get done playing,
all right.
when they get tired.
At the park.
So the weather will be great. Come on out. The
Oh, yeah.
music will be good. There'll be a lot of food to eat. A good time will be had by all, right?
Right.
Thank you for doing all that. I know it's a lot of work for you. Appreciate you doing it.
And the last item I have would be a fund transfer to the general fund from the fire fund. It is a pre-approved transfer in the budget, but it does still have to go through court. And I ask for approval for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. That's all I have at this time.
You know, and then that brings us then to our citizens' comments. We always welcome the public to approach the court. We just always ask that you be sensitive of time and try to keep your comments short and no attacks to the court members. Keep everything respectable. But today we've got a couple of things. Pulaski County Conservation District has asked to approach the court and give their annual report. So Mr. Rodney Dick will handle that.
How long do we get? 30 minutes?
For you running, I'm gonna set a timer at about 2.5. No.
First order of business, Judge, I want to pass along that Anthony, Jalen McCullum, he couldn't be here. He had to go to some training today, and he wanted to pass along that he was sorry. He appreciated the continued cooperation with you all, and I would certainly want to take this opportunity. Miss Nikki Weaver, many of you know her. If you don't, get acquainted with her. She's just a fine little old girl, and I'm honored and privileged every time I get to travel with her. She's a whole lot better looking than he is. But we'll move on to we make it a point to meet with the court a couple times a year to let you know what's going on, and we have as a conservation district our annual plan of work. You've got our budget for this coming year. We try to be very good stewards with other folks' money, and ours is like everybody else. It's down, but we're still going to be able to operate this year with and have a little bit of carryover left. If you have any questions, we'll try to go over those. John Burdett, he'll mention some other things that we have going on here in a minute. I want to introduce also that with our field day that is coming up, and John will touch on that, Miss Melanie Williams with the Lake Cumberland District Health Department. She's here with us, and we appreciate the cooperation that we've had with them and look forward to hopefully that's going to continue to go on. Linda, I want you to bring your husband and come on out this time. I don't get to see him much, and I love to talk to him. But with that, I'll turn over, if you have no questions of me, to John, and he can touch on that, and we'll try to be staying under our 30 minutes, Judge.
Yeah, as Rodney's saying, it's time for the annual Pulaski County Farm Field Day. It's coming up on September 12th. And I think y'all got a flyer that we passed around, included in your packet. It'll be at the Roy Adams Farm out the Fall Bush community. And this is a field day in cooperation with Pulaski County Conservation District, Pulaski County Extension Service, and Pulaski County Cattlemen's. And then this year's the little bit of a new twist with partner with the Pulaski County Lake Cumberland Health Department to offer tetanus shots. So that's something that Rodney and worked on through the Conservation District in partnership with the Health Department to make that available to folks attending the field day.
And also on farm safety, not only the tetanus shots, we're going to offer some safety glasses, and Deborah Reed from UK is going to talk about farm safety in general, because there's a lot of accidents, and some of those can be prevented with a few safety measures and, thinking ahead and that kind of thing. Also, we got fence line hay feeders to be presented. We got Dan Miller from Kentucky Beef Network going to present that. So we'd like to see y'all come out and attend that field day. Also on the annual report, it's been a busy year. This past fiscal year, several education opportunities through workshops and field days. I wanted to highlight a couple of things in that report. I won't bore you with the whole report, but we partnered with the Pulaski County school system on a Ready summer intern program, and that really helped us get through the summer. We had Mr. Zach Burke there with us this summer. Really a great asset, and got a lot of good work done. So we look forward to trying to work with them and continue that next summer. Also, last fall, there was a need to get some cover crops planted. We had a wet season, and several landowners were wondering how to get that implemented. So they tried to work with some local farm stores to get a helicopter in here with no success. So we kind of took it on ourselves at the Conservation District to kind of assist with that. So we were able to get a helicopter company to come in and seed 1,330 acres of cover crop last fall here in this area. So does anyone have any questions about our annual report or the upcoming field day? Thank you.
Thank you. Next then, Danny Maston, would you like to report?
Just like to bring awareness to a project that county government has going on right now with the American Heart Association Lake Cumberland Area Heart Walk. It is also on September the 12th. We have a team that's going to walk in the Heart Walk. We're also raising money for the American Heart Association. We're selling T-shirts, and we are going to have a chili dog meal on the next court date, September 10th. So make plans to stick around afterwards, get you a chili dog, and help support the American Heart Association. Just wanted to bring awareness to everybody that we'd like to see everybody out and help us support the American Heart Association.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for the county getting involved, because I'm on the committee for that. And I approached the county staff, and they jumped right in, and I appreciate that. So we should have a great time.
Danny, I want to thank you for bringing the recycling containers to the county attorney's office. They was able to save us some money. We were paying for that. And you brought, yep, I appreciate it.
All right.
You're a good old brother.
Now we've got some special guests. I'm saving the best for last on purpose here, but before I introduce our guests, actually, I want to introduce Chris Girdler. Many of y'all know Chris. We met this morning in his office, and I just can't brag on Chris enough. We have seen wonderful changes in just a very short time in the area of economic development here in Pulaski County. Whenever we worked with the city and came up with this plan for SPEDA, and then we agreed to hire Mr. Girdler, I think it's the best hire that has been made in any economic development organization across the country. I'm going to say that much, Chris. You've done a great job. It's amazing to watch you work and what you're able to accomplish in a short time. Just recently got appointed to a state board by our governor. Is that the Economic Development Board that you're on? Is that what the name of that is?
The Kentucky Community and Technical College System Board of Regents.
I was close, wasn't I? I know you just
No.
got that appointment.
Not really.
So anyway, we're proud of you, Chris. If you would like to introduce our special guest here today, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. I'd be honored to. Thank you, Judge, members of the court. I promise to be a little more brief than Rodney Dick, but I won't act as if that's an accomplishment per se. But all joking aside, it's great to see everybody. Thank you all again for your support of SPEDA and for our organization. We do have some special guests, and I definitely appreciate you all allowing the time for them to share a few words. We're very excited to have with us today the Kentucky Cabinet of Economic Development, who is just doing outstanding work for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We have Secretary Vivek Serene, who is somewhat legendary in a very short amount of time through his hard work and diligence. There's not going to be anyone in America that will out-hustle him or outwork him whatsoever. I will leave it to him to be able to introduce the rest of his staff and guests, but I can tell you just in the short amount of time that SPEED has been in existence, they have all been of tremendous help, not just to me, but to our community as a whole. Judge, I want to thank you for those kind words and those compliments. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to do what we're doing all together, and I want to commend the court as a whole for everyone working collaboratively on so many different endeavors as well. But with that said, I wrote down some of these numbers because I didn't want to get these wrong. They're so impressive. In just 3.5 years, what this cabinet has been able to accomplish is phenomenal. Their numbers are impressive. In that time, they can take credit for creating over 55,000 jobs. They have helped to facilitate over $20 billion in new business investment in Kentucky. They've helped bring about over 1,100 new and expanded facilities, and they can claim over $100 billion in exports. And my favorite part in itself is that they can lay claim to either eliminating or simplifying over 1,200 bureaucratic government regulations to help government get out of the way and allow the business community to prosper here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. But without any further ado, I definitely don't want to take any more of his time, but it is such an honor and a privilege to have them here in our community, and I'd like to introduce the Cabinet Secretary, Vivek Serene.
Give you a hand for what you accomplished.
Good morning, Judge and members of the court here. I have to be transparent about something. I have never stood at a podium like this in front of a court before, other than raising 4 kids and having to coach in my past some small sport that would make one be very nervous. I'm more nervous about this opportunity to speak to you than anything else I've ever done in my career. But thank you for having us today, and everybody that's here in attendance. My name is Vivek Serene, and my home is Louisville, Kentucky. I've been a businessman, an entrepreneur for 26 years of my career. And I never had a compartment for being in public service before. When Governor Bevin became governor, he recognized that there was just such a upside opportunity for Kentucky to become really the best version of itself, and for us to do some things and pursue some goals that perhaps have never been pursued before. And so he asked a number of people from the private sector, myself being one of them, and many others, to take pause in our public sector endeavors and to come for a finite period of time and serve in the public sector. I prayed about that a lot. I talked about it with my bride an awful lot. It was an adventure that I had never thought about. And at the end of the day, my rationale for saying yes to the opportunity really hinged on one fundamental passion that I have, and that is that as a father of 4 children, it's one of my greatest hopes that my kids will, as they grow up and they grow out and they go see this big world that we live in, it is my greatest hope that one day they'll want to circle back and return to Kentucky and come back home here to live and be productive and be creative. I think in order for that to happen, economic development fundamentally is really the tip of the spear in terms of seeing that materialize for our younger population, the next generation. We as a state, we need to figure out, how can we take some calculated risks and be just hyper creative at what we're able to do? How can we market ourselves around the world and attract business here? And how can we create opportunity where the next generation will think about calling Kentucky home and not feel like they have to head off to the state to the south or a state to the north or somewhere else and take up residence there? We need to hold on to every single person here in Kentucky and help them prosper. I'm very thankful for what Chris introduced. I often say to people, have you heard the good news? And the good news I'm talking about, well, if my pastor was here, he'd want me to really lay into that in a different manner. But the good news I'm talking about is the good news of economic development. In a short 3.5 years, under the governor's dynamic leadership and in partnership with the legislative body, which has done some amazing things, we have really accomplished a lot of work that's enabled us to now enjoy over $20 billion in new investment. And we really are just getting started. We're just beginning to sow the seeds. And it's interesting to me that when I have the opportunity to get out and travel the world, you know, as a CEO, the world only really knows us for Kentucky Fried Chicken, our wonderful tasting brown water called bourbon, the Kentucky Derby, and maybe Muhammad Ali. But the world does not know that Kentucky is #1 per capita in the manufacturing of automobiles. They don't know that. The world does not know that we're the second largest exporter of aerospace components in the entire United States, aerospace. And the world does not know that with UPS and DHL and now Amazon Prime building their air hub in northern Kentucky, that we right here in the sweet spot of America, we are the logistics hub of the world. And the world does not know this, and so it's rather exciting for us to get out and tell this story and to market the state. But I share with you all today that our success could never happen if it was not for great partners. And so for one of the reasons that we're here locally today is to not only talk about the work that we're doing, but also just extend a word of thanks to you all and to Chris and to Mayor Keck and what you're doing with SPEDA. It's truly a visionary model, and I'm actually very envious of the work that you're doing here locally, because up in Frankfurt, where things tend to be a little bit more like a plate of spaghetti and a little bit more complicated, we would like to try and cut through the red tape faster and simplify economic development. And you all are doing that here locally. And although it's a brand new venture and it's just getting off the ground, I would suggest to all of you, be very encouraged about the groundwork that you're laying right now, because we truly are just getting started. And in partnership with your economic development leaders and your industry here, I personally think the future is very bright, and I think we can really work together very well to help the goals of your community become a reality. And it would be our privilege to continue to be doing that. So with that, I know my colleague Joe has distributed some literature for you. You can look at that more carefully and read more about it. And perhaps most importantly, we commonly wear a lapel pin for red tape reduction. It's rather comical to go through airports and be asked over and over if you're a member of the Hair Barbers Association or something like that. No, we're not. We are a member of Kentucky state government, and we are here to cut red tape. We are here to cut through the bureaucracy in a thoughtful way so that Kentucky's doors to doing business are thrown wide open, and Kentucky's a great place to work and play. So thank you for your all's support, and it's a real honor to be able to get in front of you today and share a few words.
If this had anything to do with hair, neither Chris nor I would need to wear it.
Well, wear it with pride and know that, you know, in order for the state to be business friendly, cutting through the bureaucracy is a helpful thing to do. It's been a big part of our success.
Vivek, we sure appreciate you taking time to be here and bringing your staff and colleagues with you. And I didn't realize that you and I had so much in common. I also am a father of 4. And so I'm going to pray for you, my brother. I know what you're
Well,
going
I
through.
need all the prayers, because what you may not have that I have is I do have 4 children, and 3 of them are triplets, and 3 of them are 18 years old that just enrolled in college. And so if anybody ever underestimates my need to work and be employed, they don't understand what it's like to be a father who is having to put those 3 little rascals through school at one time. But I consider that to be one of the greatest privileges of my life. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you all
Chris,
very
for
much.
setting this up.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. And I've got one last thing, and didn't have it on the agenda, and I was about to forget it. We've got Alex Wilson is with us here today from BridgeNet, and I've talked to you all, I think individually, about what I would like to see here in Pulaski County. We've talked about it for a few years now, but we know that we have an issue facing us about how to get high-speed broadband internet out to our outlying areas in the county, and this is something that
I live 4 miles out of town, don't have it.
well, you're one of the outliers, right? But it's something that's very, very important to Pulaski County, and it's a puzzle we've been trying to solve. And with the help of Kentucky Wired, we're almost to the point, I think, where we can solve this puzzle, because we're going to have a backbone of high-speed fiber coming out of northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area all the way down here to Pulaski County, where we will, from there, it will extend out to other counties and hopefully all 120 counties. But here in Pulaski, we've got to figure out a way of taking that backbone fiber and what they call providing the last mile to the people out in Pulaski County. Now we've got some locals right now. I know Spectrum provides cable and internet here in a hub in the city, and then you've got Windstream that tries to do the same, and then you've got people like Alex, people like XNet, HughesNet, others. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I know there's several that are trying to provide that service out where the main two, the big two, don't. But here's the problem: the infrastructure is not there right now, and for a small company like this to do that, they can't afford the infrastructure because it's not a profitable venture to reach out into the outskirts of the county. However, it is a break-even venture, close to break-even, and I think we're going to prove that. What I'd like to do is ask Alex and his brother to produce a feasibility study showing us how we could make some investments that would be very close to break-even for the county, but yet would provide a window of opportunity for local providers to reach out and provide the much-needed service that's missing in our county. And it's a big opportunity that's coming before us. We need to have our plan of action ready when it's able to happen. My ask would be for the court if you would give us permission to spend up to $2,000 for a feasibility study where how we can start this process at some point in time. Just give you all something to think about. Put you on the spot with any surprises, but this would be a good start for us to be thinking about how we're going to approach this.
Yeah, well, thank you all for asking me to come here today. Judge, thanks for having me. He pretty much summed it all up for you. We have been looking at ways for a long time now to help get the much needed broadband services to rural parts of not just Pulaski, but to the entire rural parts of the state. And as Judge Kelly had told you, it's not really very profitable for companies like us because it takes a lot of capital up front, and we live in a very geographically challenged area. So hills and trees and forests cause a lot of problems, especially in the wireless business. But we can cover a lot more ground in the wireless business. So this study, I just want to go over a couple of things on what this study will help you, learn and how it can help you make a decision on what you might want to do. So the judge and I had spoke about building a series of towers across Pulaski County, whether it be one in each district or wherever they're needed. These towers would serve as sub-hubs for several different services, not just wireless broadband, also two-way radio communications for public safety, which is also a big need in some parts of our county here, and also cellular service as well. There's still several parts of Pulaski County that has zero coverage of cell phone service. A lot of the parts on the lake and other big communities that really need those kinds of communications for the safety of the people that live there. So what this study will do, it'll take us about 30 days to complete, and we're going to go out and we're going to look, determine the best locations for these towers, look at land. I know the biggest need, Steve, that you had mentioned is like the fire departments. We want to try to get all of the fire departments connected with high-speed broadband so that they'll have the ability to be connected and use that for their efforts in serving the community. We'll also look at points of coverage where they'll be most needed. Now, I will be transparent here and say that this will not be an end-all, fix-all solution. You won't be able to hit every single home, so to speak, but this will tremendously increase the efforts and the ability to reach the most amount of homes possible. We'll look, like I said earlier, at Wi-Fi, cellular service, and two-way radio communications. Now, there's a couple ways that you can go about doing something like this. The county could build the towers and then in return lease tower space to companies like myself or cellular companies, things like that. Or you could invest with a private company, let them come in and let them put the towers up, let them own them, and then the county rent the space on them for whatever they may need, or however you all might work with grants or things to help make that happen. So like I said, there's a couple different options that way. The reports will be done on both of those so you can see the pros and cons of each way. We'll also look at more technical aspects, land elevations, try to figure out the best points of land there. Also land acquisitions, how can we acquire the pieces of land that are best suitable for these towers. And then we'll also go out and we'll reach out to the private sector and see what the interest looks like. Are there cell companies and other internet companies and things like that currently looking for more coverage in the Pulaski County area? So, as Steve had told you, you'd be looking at about $2,000 to do that. And just a little, foreshadow on what a potential ROI would be on a project like this. A low end, a tower could bring in $1,200 a month. On a high end, you could bring anywhere from $5,500 a month. It really just depends on the area, the need, and how aggressive you are at going out and talking to other companies to get them to come in. It's also going to be a cost-saving mechanism for the county. Currently, the county rents several towers for their two-way radio repeaters. And I don't know what the current number per month is on those costs, but it's in the thousands, I know, for sure. By doing this, you're automatically saving that money. And you could also look at connecting. I know a lot of agencies and governments, private companies that have multiple buildings in areas are looking at doing projects like this where they cut off paying, say you have 10 buildings, they're paying 10 different internet bills. They're looking at doing away with that and making whatever their hub office is. We would come in, put equipment up, use our towers to shoot the signal to all of the other buildings. They're paying one internet bill and saving thousands of dollars a month on that. That's also something that would be possible here. So there's a lot of ways for the county to save a lot of money, help the community, and potentially make money. As you'd say, Judge, it's not really your goal, I guess, to make money, but if you can save money and make it back all at the same time, you might as well. So there's a lot of good things to come out of something like this. Kentucky Wired is here. It has been placed in the Center for Rural Development, and as I understand, I think you all are going to have some sort of node here in the courthouse as well, I believe. So it's here, it's going. We actually had a roundtable at the Center for Rural Development a couple weeks ago where we met with Kentucky Wired officials, other companies such as myself. And the biggest problem now is, now that Kentucky Wired is here, how do we get it to the homes? Kentucky Wired is not building to the homes. It's up to companies like us. So they've built the highway, and it's up to us to build the on and off ramps for that highway. So this would be a great way for us to utilize Kentucky Wired to its full capacity and be able to branch out the signal from here in the Center for Rural Development to several sub-hubs, like I said, the towers throughout the community. I know that probably the main point of focus would be Pulaski Park. I think it'd be a great place to start because I know you've mentioned having some troubles there at the park with internet service. And the Nancy area, I know my company alone, we have a huge interest from citizens in the Nancy area for reliable broadband, affordable broadband. So that's actually one of our next points as well. We just finished building a new tower on Hale Knob Road, right behind the hospital, that's going to allow us to hit several other points. I know we've got a tower waiting in Braunston, and we're actually looking at spots in Nancy for our next one. So I think this would be a great opportunity for you all to look at, and we're here to help in any way possible. But I thank you for asking us to come in today and talk to you about it.
I appreciate it. Well, we've got arguably the most beautiful spot to live in the world, right here in Pulaski County. We've got so much wonderful area here that we can enjoy, so much scenery, so much peace, tranquility. Unfortunately, we don't have the technology that a lot of the world has, and we need to offer that to our citizens. It's not right that in this day and age of technology and of doing everything on the internet that our people can't have that same luxury. And so I'd like to find a way to make that happen. I know you all would as well. And we just, if we can start with a study, we can maybe lay out a path of how we can get there, and basically get caught up and even get ahead of some of the rest of the world around us. So thank you for doing that.
Question, if I can.
Yeah.
Is there any current talk out there of any other companies that are wanting to do something like this currently?
Well, yeah, I mean, companies like ourselves, wireless companies, we're always looking to expand our networks. But like we said, cost is the big problem. We're self-funded. So for us to go build 10 towers at once is not feasible. But if you had an entity that built the towers and then rented that space out to others, that would be great. And a lot of, there's a lot of towers out there already. AT&T, Verizon have a lot of towers, but they're charging an arm and a leg to be on those. It's still not cost effective for companies like us to rent that space, because we're looking at still spending anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month for tower rental space when you can go build it for that.
Is there grants available to assist us with providing Wi-Fi to the outlying community? I know this is a big thing nationwide, but I was just wondering if there's grants available nationwide that could assist us in purchasing these things.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm not aware of any specific ones at the moment. Those would be outlaid in the study here. But yeah, there's always grants for communications and technology needs like that. And there's actually a lot of
to the rural community.
Exactly. Rural communities are the #1 focus. There's also companies, large companies, worldwide companies that are investing their own money as grants as well. Facebook is looking at doing projects with smaller companies. They actually just started a wireless broadband initiative in the San Francisco Bay Area. So there's a lot of neat stuff going on in the world and a lot of ways to get help. It's just a matter of going after it to get it.
I mean, I know out of my district, probably 3/4 of my district don't have proper cell phone coverage or Wi-Fi. I've seen them pull up the fire department to connect into their Wi-Fi or something like that, or to use a cell phone. So it is a need in our district. I'm sure every one of our districts. So I hope we can find a great solution for this.
Yeah, of course. That's the ultimate goal, is to find the best solution and to get all of these services to everyone that we can for an affordable manner.
If I would ask that you all would allow us to approve this study, and that way we can actually get started with thinking about it and thinking about a plan of how we can do this.
Is there in the budget?
Up to $2,000.
Okay, I make a motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Alex, thank you for taking your time.
Thank you.
come
Thank
here
you for
today.
inviting me
I'm
here.
excited to see what you come up with there.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, you have any?
Yeah, there's one more thing. It's not on the agenda. I prepared a deed of conveyance. Steve and Jan Fisher, I think, contacted your office. They wanted to donate 2 lots, lot numbers 15 and 16 in Twin Lakes subdivision to the county. And the value of those, according to their appraisal, was $63,180. They're in a subdivision. They're right behind the fire training center, as I understand it, Judge. They're in a subdivision, so you're going to be subject to the subdivision restrictions, so you really can't expand the fire training center probably into that area or anything of that nature. I'm sure they're just single-family dwelling lots, but you can't accept them and then turn around and resell them at public auction or whatever. So, and obviously people do that for their own tax benefits occasionally, give things to government and nonprofit entities. So I've got the deed prepared if you all would like to approve accepting that property and give Judge the authority to execute it.
Entertain a
And
motion
we
for
would have to
that.
maintain that property,
Will.
cutting grass and
There's
everything
no-
like
there's no
that.
grass.
Already are.
Huh?
There's no grass there, Mark. It's all woods.
You're
Okay.
not maintaining that property, but you do maintain subdivision properties.
It's all grown up, so there's nothing to maintain. It's just
Okay, I'm just asking.
Motion to accept it.
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for doing that work, by the way. All right. With no further business, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Stand up and leave. Thank you.